Welcome again to What the Franklin. I am your cognitively declining host. I can't even say it. Cognitively declining host, Chip Franklin, along with Nikki Medoro, who also hosts her own show called The Nikki Medoro Show on the YouTube Spasm network that we all work here. Violating copyright laws every second
left
of the
and
day.
right. There you go.
Now you don't get dinged a lot, do you? Like I do.
I don't think so. I think sometimes the music that in the intro I have to share with whatever. Well, I don't know. I don't think so. If I do, I don't care.
It's well, we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right to it.
Let's get to it.
And I think the first thing that we obviously have to talk about is the press conference last night with Joe Biden, the ongoing fight in the Democratic Party, and what people are saying. I think this kind of when I look at this and I think to myself, what is the message that the Democrats are trying to put out there right now? Because I believe that Joe Biden can still function and do quite well as a knowledgeable executive. I don't, obviously that debate, that moment, but I had a guy, I produce a podcast called Shrinking Trump, with these two psychiatrists. And we had a guy on that is a professor, and he studied stuttering, and he explained, all of these things and how, his mental acuity seems fine, despite what, idiots like, I don't know. Did you hear let me see if I can find this one. This is my favorite, Lindsey Graham going off on him. And it's funny too. Well, it's not funny, but just listen to this.
We remember every day is a cognitive exam. You got an F today. This was rambling, stumbling, bumbling. You misled the American people about the state of the world. I had no idea what you were saying half the time. So we need a cognitive test. But and about golf, I'm tired of talking about golf. Go play 9 holes with President Trump. Just play 9 holes. If you think he writes the score down before he hits the ball, you don't know what you're talking. I'm playing with him Sunday. President Trump is a very good golfer.
Now,
this is what we're talking about. Yeah. I mean,
but you know how I feel about golf. Rick Riley, Sam Jackson, 100 people have played with golf. He cheats. He cheats.
And it's not, look at what Biden has done in his time as president. And I know that, when we talk about the economy, I mean, I understand numbers and everything, but there is no argument that this has been a successful president for what Biden has wanted to do. And this whole idea that it's just him and that he doesn't have a cabinet, that he doesn't have a vice president, that we didn't vote for a Biden-Harris ticket. Like, it pisses me off. Democrats are shooting themselves in the foot. It pisses me off.
By the way, Biden has had a neurological exam in the last year. So, I mean, yes, he's had one. Trump, on the other hand, continues to say just the most outrageous and insane things that, I can't watch the Today Show anymore. When Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb start talking about, they started off with Biden and a gaffe he's making. I go, he makes a gaffe. Have you looked at Project 2025?
Have you looked at Trump's gaffes? I mean, he makes gaffes left and right. We don't care about those, though. The bar for Trump is non-existent. Trump can talk about nonsense. Oh, that's just Trump. But Biden makes one slip, and oh my God, he can't be president anymore. It's so ridiculous.
Here's the Republican Party in a nutshell right here.
There is no way that the American people are going to vote for a convicted criminal. They're not. So I will be voting for Trump.
Exactly. The hypocrisy. The Republican Party does not have a viable candidate. There's not a person to vote for in the Republican Party because it's Donald Trump. I mean, this is what I keep asking people when they say, oh my God, Biden had a gaffe. And I go, so you're going to vote for Trump? They're like, well, no. And I go, okay, so then you vote for Biden. You vote for Biden or you vote for Kamala Harris. That's it. Period. I don't understand what the conversation's about.
And Biden will surround himself with incredibly smart, talented, able people.
Exactly.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, 2025, before this is over today, I want to play you a little bit of the Lincoln Projects. I mean, people should know it. Everybody should see it. And I'll send it to anybody that wants it. You send me an email at chip@chipfranklin.com. I'll send you that video so you can see it. After last night's press conference, I mean, I thought he did great. I think the one point that I really came away from that was that nobody knows international like Joe Biden.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether it's Putin or Xi or anybody. I'm telling you right now, who does Putin want to win this race? It ain't Joe Biden.
It is not Joe Biden. No,
Joe Biden will continue to fund Ukraine and help Ukraine in their fight. Here's what some of the Democrats had to say last night after watching this.
The two of you weren't decided. My question for you, You weren't decided before this happened if he should stay in the race. How do you feel now after watching this news conference?
Relieved, and I think he should stay in.
So your opinion has changed from not sure to he should stay in?
Yes.
Okay. And how about you? How do you feel? You weren't sure. How do you feel now?
Same. I think he's the logical choice.
There you go.
Yeah. Here's a couple more.
He's a strong guy.
What do you think? Do you agree with that?
Yes, I would agree with that. I think what came across was that of what he is. Joe Biden is very caring about people. He's very knowledgeable and experienced, and he's not just out for himself, that he really cares about the country.
And there's no chance that you would be more confident with the Kamala Harris or your governor here, Whitmer, here in the state of Michigan.
Right. Yeah. I think Joe Biden did an excellent job.
During this news conference. But was there
and one last thing. This probably, to me, caps off this country we live in. After everything we've been dealing with now, did you see the latest mayor's poll? Biden's up 2 points.
There you go. I mean, the Democrats need to shut the hell up. They don't know. See, this is the thing about the Republican Party does very well. They rally. It doesn't matter that Donald Trump has all these indictments, has been convicted. They rally around their dying horse, you know?
Remember what happened 6 weeks before 2016 election? To grab him by the pussy tail.
Exactly. And they did. They
backed him 100%. Nobody went fleeing.
Exactly. The Democrats don't know how to do that. They're idiots. I mean, they just don't know how to shut the hell up. Let Biden just do what he's been doing. You know, I understand he's old. So is Trump. It's so ridiculous. Let the platform that we've been running on, that has been working, that has been showing progress, continue and shut up. It sucks so bad.
You know, it's interesting. I entertained on Twitter for about 10 minutes. Like, let's assume that Kamala Harris became the candidate.
Right.
And how people would feel. Just mentioning it, people got upset. But I do know that as a white man, I'm afforded a privilege still that no matter who gets elected, I'm going to be okay. Right. It's people. It's what. Look, let me find this. I got to read this to you. I did a lot of research on 2025. Under 2025, Project 2025, which, if you don't know, it's the Heritage Foundation put together a 900-page thing on how they're going to change America afterwards. You will not have women. You will not have access to IVF abortion, as you've heard. Your travel could be restricted from across state lines if you're pregnant. Today, I was going to talk about this later on, but today we just heard that AOC has filed I don't know exactly what the word is. The beginnings of an impeachment process for Alito and Thomas.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What Project 2025 will do to not just women but minorities, it will, for example, sexual harassment in the workplace will go away. Men will be able to put their hands on you to say whatever they want.
Grab them by the pee will be A-okay.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're not crazy about Biden, you have to think about the alternative, because it's going to change the country irrevocably, in my opinion. And I don't really know. You know, here's an African-American voter, and I don't know who this woman is. I apologize. We'll know in just a second here.
Joe Biden stays in the race. I'm going to do every single thing I can to defeat Donald Trump, because as a Black woman living in this country that has less constitutional rights than I had from the day that I was born 42 years ago, I refuse to live under Donald Trump's reign again. I refuse to risk our democracy. And Joe Biden is the person right now who is able to defeat him. And so when people are saying, do something to prove that you have the command of the knowledge, and you stand up and you call on 10 reporters and you answer 19 questions for 59 minutes, then I ask you, if you go and say step down, then what is the test that he must prove over and over again? Because then it feels like you, as a person who is calling for him to step down, is being disingenuous. Now, I'm not saying it's not wrong, because that debate was terrible, and Joe Biden has acknowledged that. But as people who are living with the fear of a possible dictator to take over this country, I just ask you, as a Democratic Party, and I'm not super excited about Joe Biden, but I am terrified of Donald Trump.
Exactly. Like, are you guys insane?
Yeah.
Like, it's so ridiculous to think that, oh, Joe Biden's old. And the alternative?
Did you hear Trump's response to that? Yeah. That's what are you going to do? Anyway. So yeah, I try to imagine, I mean, what's happening right now, and have we reached this momentum? Jeffries came out and said, Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader in the House of Representatives, that, and also this was also Jamie Harrison, and I think Clyburn said this as well, that, look, until August and the Democratic Convention, which I'll be at this year, and
tell them they're all stupid if they're still talking this nonsense by then.
Well,
if they're still talking about this nonsense, I'm going to be pissed.
I think a lot of Democrats are pissed. I mean, my wife and her friends are worried, but I do believe that there is a real sense of, I mean, you look in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, and these numbers, they go up and down every day. But I think at the end of the day, people are going to say, there's no way I can vote for an independent. I don't know how anybody can vote for Donald Trump when you just go down that list.
Thank
you. I mean, can you imagine him doing 59 minutes answering policy questions? Like anybody out there, 15 minutes.
Thank you.
Answering policy questions.
Thank you.
No.
It's ridiculous. And again, like that woman that you just played said, I mean, what is the test? He does it every single day. And Joe Biden said that in his interview also. He's like, I do it every day. You want a cognitive test? I'm doing the job.
Exactly.
I'm meeting with these people. What do you want from me? Yes. Yeah. Sometimes I have a bad night. Sometimes I have a gaffe. I mean, what do you want from him?
How about 2 live cognitive tests side by side? I mean, and not Trump's cognitive test.
I said, is there some kind of a test, an acuity test? And he said, there actually is. And he named it, whatever it might be. And it was 30 or 35 questions. The first questions are very easy. The last questions are much more difficult, like a memory question. It's like you'll go person, woman, man, camera, TV.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, if it was left in the past, Chip, it would be funny, right? But the fact that we might have to go through that crap again is frightening. It's just, I wish that we could be like, oh, wasn't that just frightening in our past? I can't imagine people want to go through that crap again. I can't.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel bad for right now is Kamala Harris, obviously, because she's.
I know. It sucks, man. It's just, it's sexist. It's racist. It boggles my mind because, again, people are like, what's going to happen if Joe Biden dies? We voted on this. You remember? Because when we vote for the Biden-Harris administration, with the knowledge that Joe Biden was old in 2020, because he was old in 2020. And we said to ourselves, if Joe Biden dies, who do we feel comfortable running the country? And we said to ourselves, Kamala Harris. We said that Donald Trump does not want to run against Kamala Harris. He does not, because then all of the things that he says about Joe Biden no longer apply. And Kamala Harris is not going to have a completely different administration, a completely different policy. It's going to be a continuation of the Biden.
She'll get credit. She'll have the benefit of getting the credit of all. I mean, this is the argument that people make, that if Biden should step down, and he should decide to step down, which, I mean, if I were the guy, I would. He's going to be 85 when he finishes his term.
If he wants to, it's up to him, though. He doesn't need anybody else to make that decision for him.
No, he doesn't. Well, no, that's not accurate. I mean, voters make that decision, and the convention and Democrats make that decision.
Well, the voters made the decision in the primary, and they said that they wanted Joe Biden to run. So if he wants to step down, he can. But right now, we don't need Democrats being like, Joe, step down. Joe, step down. If you want to step down, step down. If you don't. We don't need this nonsense.
If it's going to happen, let it happen soon, because every day the clock is ticking, right? And that's the part that really gets me, that bothers me, I think, is that when you look, I mean, again, we're talking about 7 states, and when I hear, the BS coming from the right that New York is in play, of course, I don't believe that for a second.
I don't believe that for a second, no.
But when you look at, again, this mayor's poll, if November's general election for president were held today, whom would you support? 50% said Biden, 48% said Trump. The 48% even blows me away. I mean, it should be, it should be 98-2.
Well, the thing that, and our good friend over at KGO, John Rothman, made an excellent point, that if Joe Biden stepped down and Kamala Harris is the natural choice. This whole nonsense.
Wait, how do you hear John Rothman? Is he doing a show? Does he do a podcast?
No, I was talking to him on my show. And he made an excellent point. He said, if you put Kamala Harris in, it opens up the avenue of having another vice president. He made the prediction of Pennsylvania's governor. At least then you can bring somebody else in that can add to that, the electoral college count, which is genius, right? I mean, instead of it just being Biden, Harris.
Whitmer, you could bring, but you're not going to have two women on the ticket because
no, you can't have two women on the ticket. You're not going to obviously bring Newsom, but you can bring Pennsylvania. I mean, there are ways we could do this.
Illinois governor is a great guy too, and I can't remember his name. Blowing a blank, but that's who I've heard. But look, again, what we're talking about right now is if you go to like any of the sites that we generally look at for these shows, you look here, key Biden ally supports him staying in race, but makes clear Democrats have until the 19th. That's Clyburn talking. Again, you start looking at this Pod Save America host, torches Biden advisors, calling them cool guy operatives. You have bigger fish to fry. CNN Begala, Paul Begala, who was a CNN analyst and a former Democratic consultant, he says that Biden's presser was tour de force. Hakeem Jeffrey says he privately met with Biden to express heartfelt perspective and conclusions from the caucus. I mean, it is bothersome that we don't have more support for a guy who obviously has
done so much.
Yeah, and has done so much and continues to and understands it. I mean, this is what we got. This is what this country's become. It really has.
Well, and it's also the round the clock media obsession. Did you see that article about how Sinclair, right, this media group that has blanketed middle America, this is all they're talking about. And
they give them a script to read.
Exactly. It's strategic. Yeah. And it's brainwashing middle America that this is the number one issue. You think they're talking about Trump? You think they're talking about the Epstein files? You think they're talking about Project 2025? They are not. No. They're not talking about any of that.
The only time they talk about inflation, they talk about it like it's something that Biden controls, right? I mean, and if it's funny when I look at inflation and I try to explain macroeconomics to people.
No, don't even try.
Like when people talk about when Trump says the greatest economy in the world, I always do that thing. I say, look, tell me one thing that was greater than Biden's done, and they can't. Unemployment, no, we're record unemployment low right now,
right?
And consistency that is just amazing. And when you look at the numbers how our country grows, the gross domestic product, the GDP, that's how you tell a country is growing. Biden's consistently out over 4.5%. Trump never had one at 3%. Now, granted, the last year was a nightmare because of COVID, but the first 3 years, he talked about the stock market. Stock market now is at record highs. What did he say? What happened if Biden became president?
Right.
Because these idiots, and if you're one of them, I don't know what's wrong with you. Freaking don't understand how stupid you can be to not get the facts. Get the facts.
And they blame inflation instead of on the corporations that are gouging you on purpose. And they blame it on Biden. And it's like, you guys are so idiotic. Like lazy. They don't understand corporate greed.
Right.
It's so ridiculous. And it just bothers me, but whatever. Preaching to the choir. Preaching to the choir.
It's interesting too. When I look at people like JD Vance, who is such a whore. If you don't remember, JD Vance compared Trump to Hitler. He was
a never Trumper, wasn't he? Early on.
Yeah, early on he was. Yeah. Let me see if I have something. I want to play this because this came on. This was on. I'm trying to remember the show. What was the show that Chris Matthews called? It was called Hardball. Wasn't
Hardball.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is one I'm kind of fascinated by because he was on talking about the. Let me make sure I got the right one here. I apologize. This is. Yeah, here it is. All right, so this is them. This is the woman who said she was groped. Jessica Leeds was her name.
Okay.
And this is 8 years ago. It was in the 2016 race. And this is your JD Vance, who wants to be vice president, who's not going to be vice president most probably now. And I don't know who is, but let's watch this second.
It was a real shock when all of a sudden his hands were all over me. He was like an octopus. It was like he had 6 arms. He was all over the place. But it's when he started putting his hand up my skirt. And that was it. That was it. I was out of there. I wish the stewardess would come and rescue me. And then I decided, I got up, I got my purse, and I said, I'm going back to my seat and coach.
What do you think of this This is back, it's sort of interesting, evocative of the time, because we used to say stewardess, first of all. Now we say flight attendant, but just it gives you a sense of history. But this woman is not a show-off. She's just telling what happened so we can know it.
Yeah. And it's sort of, it makes you think that at a fundamental level, this is sort of a he said, she said, right? And at the end of the day, do you believe Donald Trump, who always tells the truth? Just kidding. Or do you believe that woman on that?
Just kidding, because nobody believes Donald Trump because he's always a liar.
Did you hear, when Romney finally said there's no way that he could vote for Trump? It wasn't, he broke it all down. He said, there's one line I won't cross, and it's the sexual attacks and abuse and assault. And he wouldn't do it. And that's why he stayed back. Not everything else. But I get that, So anyway, so here we are. I guess the question is, if Joe, is it as simple as saying, if this is what Joe Biden wants, the Democrats should back off?
Yes. Okay. I mean, he deserves that. And in all honesty, he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to listen to any of them. Now, is it this question of putting the country before your own personal interests? And I think that honestly, Joe Biden should have a heart-to-heart with himself. He should look at himself in the mirror and be like, can I make it another 4 years? And if he deep down believes that he can, then go for it. If he really doesn't believe that he can give it 100%, as much as he could in 2020, all the way through this thing, then maybe he should give 100% behind Kamala Harris and whoever she chooses as her running mate. Maybe that would make more sense.
Are we sure that Kamala Harris can win?
She would have the war chest. Right? I don't think the war chest can pass on to anybody else. Why would are we that stupid, Chip, that we're going to give up all that freaking money 4 months before the election? Are we that we're not that
Did you hear the latest this morning that Democratic donors have frozen $90 million?
I don't give a crap. No, we do not give up the hundreds of millions of dollars that we have in the war chest on an assumption that we're going to have money that we choose the right. No.
Well, obviously it can't be.
We're so effing dumb. I swear to God, sometimes this Republican Party can run a convicted freaking felon better than the Democratic Party can rally behind a successful president. This is how idiotic the Democratic Party can be. And I'm so freaking disappointed in us. We can do better than this. We shoot ourselves in the foot.
Well, I mean,
stop.
When you balance the two parties, obviously what the Democrats are proposing and protecting.
Our platform is better.
Yeah,
our platform is better for this country.
For everybody.
That's all we need to run on.
It's not good for rich people. Our platform's not good.
It is good for rich people. Rich people stay rich. Rich people stay rich.
Wait. I'm being facetious in a way. Billionaires don't want to hear about us complaining about billionaires, right? Bezos and these guys, they look at themselves as the Rockefellers of our time, and I guess they are. The tech Rockefellers and all.
Going to be billionaires.
What's that?
They're still going to be billionaires. I mean, rich people know how to stay rich. They always will. Always will. I am not worried about rich people, and rich people aren't worried about rich people.
Who should be the most frightened heading
women, minorities, the climate.
Listen,
you know what I mean?
This is a guy was running for the U.S. Senate in Illinois, and they were talking about abortion and the rape incest exemption, and listen, he called pregnancy from rape as inconvenient.
Richard Murdoch was explaining that abortion should not be permitted in the case of a rape or incest when he said this.
Life is that gift from God, and I think even when life begins in that horrible situation of rape, that it is something that God intended to happen.
Wow. Yeah.
That's a guy that.
And this is the Republican Party right there. That owns the Republican Party. That evangelical, Christian nationalism that we're hearing people say it out loud.
I'm so glad that you brought this up. I want you to watch something, and I don't know if you've seen it already. Have you seen this documentary called Bad Faith?
No.
It's free on Tubi, or it's like 99 cents on Prime. You have to watch this. Bad Faith. I'm not kidding. Chip, watch it tonight. Bad Faith. I watched it. It's all about Christian nationalism, and it's excellent. It was released this year, but it brings up everything you're talking about from the 50s, 60s, and 70s to today, and Project 2025, and Paul Weyrich, and Ronald Reagan, and all the seeds up to right now. And I am telling you, Chip, Everybody needs to watch this before they vote. I am telling you, Christian nationalism is what they want to bring this country back to. And not all white people and not all Christians.
No.
So don't just think that, oh, I'm a Christian. They're not necessarily talking about you. So it's
a certain type of Christian. It's a Christian that is willing to it's funny. One of the interesting things I learned, I grew up in Catholic schools. I went 12 years and it was, and the answer is no, nothing happened. But no, it was a great experience. I'm as Nikki and I go back and forth. She's still religious. I'm not. But we both share, I think, values and view the world the same. I think that what Christian nationalism at its heart believes in a thing called Calvinism, which is like, if you're poor and you have nothing going on, it's because that's what God wants for you.
God wants. And that's what this documentary talks about as well. It's crazy, Chip. It's going to blow your mind. Bad Faith. You have to watch it tonight. Later on today, just watch it. It's like an hour and a half.
Well,
it's
I tell people,
so well done.
I'm an agnostic atheist. And in other words, it's like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I want to be good to people and I want to share with people. And I have good friends that are born again Christians that believe, the whole drill. And you and I have disagreements, not disagreements, but different ways of looking at it.
I'm a non-practicing Catholic. The minute that religion got too much into politics, I stepped away. The minute my religion told me that people that I cared for were going to hell just because of who they loved, I walked away. I believe in God. That's it. Like, I believe in God. I know how to be a good person. All the other rules that are man-made that make me hate people. Nah, I don't buy into any of that crap.
And that's the whole part of like what with the Republican Party now is that they needed some glue to bring together these terrible ideas. And the glue is this idea that this is what God wants for you, and you can't really understand it.
Right. Like don't question the rules that we decide to separate you from your neighbor, to control you and to control your money and to control your vote. It's all nonsense, and I just don't buy that. And so
all right. So I want to talk briefly about AOC. I can't remember her real name.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Yes. I had to bring in you speak Spanish?
No, I fake it on a daily.
Fake it, okay. You sound like you did there. Wendy and I my wife and I are starting to take classes this fall because I found out when you turn 60 in California.
Oh,
you can actually
you're 60, right?
Yeah, you can take classes and they're free.
Oh, really?
At state universities. So
there's like the conservative dad in me that's like, that's why California is going broke. They give all these old people
that's a great point though. How can you ever go wrong giving people free education?
Thank you.
What's the worst thing that could happen? Do you have
people speak Spanish? It's an English. This is an English speaking country.
I love it. It's like, let me see. Wait. Oh, so only America would choose to be stupid. Only America would have signs up. America.
Donald Trump loves the uneducated ship. Come on.
God, we have a new piece in the show. I normally save it for the end, but I'll throw it in here. It's called Only in America. Okay. And this it's kind of tragic, but there's a lawsuit was filed in Massachusetts after a teen died eating spicy chips as part of an online challenge. I know. Hershey, Walgreens, and several other companies are being sued after a Massachusetts teen participated in a spicy tortilla chip challenge. Say that 3 times fast. 10th grader from Worcester. There's a online thing called a 1 chip challenge, and he died. He had a cardiopulmonary arrest from the ingestion of food substance with a high
capsaicin
concentration. Yeah. So you know about this. You've heard about this?
It's that you've seen it. It comes in like this one box. It's 1 chip in this one box, and it looks like a coffin.
Oh, I see it. Yeah. Okay.
Like it's supposed to be like a really, really, really spicy chip.
So that 1 chip killed this kid?
Apparently he had like some sort of reaction to the high capsaicin in the chip and it killed him. Now, I like my spicy food. I've never eaten that chip. I'm like your typical white guy. I love the idea of spicy food, but it doesn't love me. See, I don't mind the clean out after eating spicy food, as they say. You know what I mean? Like, I just love spicy food. I think it's excellent. It's just great.
Did you just do a poop reference? All right. Before we, I do want to, you got to hang around because in just a few minutes I have I don't know if you saw any of the ESPYs the other night.
Oh, I was hoping you were. Are you going to play it? Are you going to play the video?
Oh, you mean from the Serena and
yes. Are you going to play?
I don't have it. Actually, I was going.
I have it. Can I share? I don't know if I can share videos on. Can I share videos on your show?
You can try, but I mean, I can talk about what they weren't that good in that they were trying to be funny, but they were sweet and they were honest is what they did. The two sisters.
Yeah.
What's the woman's name? Bunta? Is it Bonita?
Keita Brunson.
Keita Brunson. Sorry about that. Keita.
She's the one from the show. I watch the show all the time.
A sports show?
No, she's the one behind the school show. Damn it. I watched.
She's not even 5 foot tall, and she's standing next to the Williams sisters.
Yeah, she's really short. Yeah. She's like my height.
We might as well
I adore her.
We'll do this now because it's fun and it's politically incorrect. So yeah, the ESPY Awards.
Abbott Elementary is the name of the show that she does. Sorry.
Okay. The ESPY Awards, and I can read you what was said because it's funny, and but it took a long time to get to. It's like a 5-minute thing. But what Serena said was and Venus said were funny, and they were talking about women in sports. And that said, you can call them what you want. You can call them champions. You can call them athletes. You can call them competitors. And then Serena said, just don't use the B word. And they were referring, of course, to Pat McAfee. You know that guy? Mm-hmm. McAfee. He called Caitlin Clark a white bitch on his show. And she said, you can root for Caitlin Clark. And who's the woman she's having the riff with now? Angela Reese, I believe. Is that her name?
Oh, Angel Reese. Angel
Reese, yes.
Angel Reese, yeah.
And then at the end of it, she said, go ahead and enjoy women's sports. This is Venus. Go ahead and enjoy women's sports like you would any other sport because they are sports. And then she goes, except you, Harrison Butker. We don't need you. And they all say, yeah, like never. Harrison Butker was the guy that said, essentially, when women graduate from college, they really should just go have babies.
Yeah. At a college commencement address to women in the audience after they worked their ass off for a degree. You know, I'm sure he spoke to them. He's like, I'm sure many of you are dreaming of what to use with your degree, but you should be wanting to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, basically.
Yeah.
You can go.
So they were good. But here's the thing.
I love it.
Here's the thing about comedy. By the way, I'm doing a comedy show in San Leandro on the 20th.
San Leandro.
And next week from tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah. And so I've been working on, trying to write some new material in case somebody's seen me. And, and it's funny, too, as I go through this, I have a particular style. This is outdoors, so I don't really expect to do that well.
Oh, stop.
No, outdoors is hard. And I do, me, I do kind of quiet.
Like inside you're funnier inside when it echoes off the walls, but outside your jokes get lost in the ether. What?
Why are you being a dick? I'm just trying to make a point that it's hard to do comedy outside, but hopefully it'll go great. And there's some great comics on it, like Dat Fan, that guy's going to be there. You know that dude? Yeah, Dat Fan is his name.
Oh yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's been on, and also Laurie Kilmartin, who is she's great. Anyway,
she's been on your show when we were on KGL.
Yeah, we had Laurie on. Yeah. And in fact, I was trying to get her on the show, but I think I did. I reached out too late. In fact, she just sent me a note saying it's on right now. Oops. But so one of my favorite comics is all time died a few years ago. And that's Norm Macdonald.
Oh, I love him.
Yes. Did you ever see his ESPY speech?
No, I don't think I have. I'll have to go Google it.
No, I'm going to play it for you right now.
Okay. Oh, I love Norm Macdonald.
This is Norm Macdonald at the ESPYs. He was emceeing them, and Ron Woodson, he's going to talk to, had won the Heisman Trophy award. So he was talking about that, and you'll just laugh. Yeah. And do you remember why he got fired?
No.
Norm Macdonald got fired for making OJ jokes because Dick Ebersol, who was the head of the network, was good friends with OJ.
Oh.
And if you go on YouTube and you put Norm Macdonald and OJ, and you'll see dozens of jokes that he did.
I do remember his OJ jokes. I didn't know he got fired for those.
Yeah, that's why he got fired. Yeah, he got fired. So anyway, this is him doing the ESPYs again. My favorite.
And there's Charles Woodson. How about that? And what a season he had. Great, man. He became the first defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy. And congratulations, Charles. That is something that no one can ever take away from you. Unless you kill your wife and a waiter, in which case all bets are off. It's a word of advice. Folks.
I love Norm Macdonald. I swear.
I love the black guys. I love the black guys.
He's like, he's like trying to shake it off. He's like, oh my God. I just watched Norm Macdonald's final appearance on Dave Letterman, and nobody knew that he had cancer or whatever. Yeah. And he was like, and I'm like, I'm weeping, and he's like crying. Oh my God, we lost a legend when he passed away. Oh my God, I love Norm Macdonald.
Yeah, he's one of the few comics from my whole generation that I never got to meet. I knew people that knew him very well.
Right.
I never met him.
Oh, he was excellent. Absolutely. Unless you're ex-wife and a waiter. Then
it's so funny. My son is my oldest son, who he struggled a lot in his life, growing up with some learning difficulties, but he's doing great now. And one of the things that ties us together is our love for sports and comedy. And I turned him on to comedian Bill Hicks.
Yeah, I love Bill Hicks too.
I mean, without a doubt, Bill Hicks is the most raw. I mean, Wendy and I would say, we'll know if a couple, this is back in the days of CDs, yeah. We'll know if a couple is close enough to us, if we can dare play them a Bill Hicks CD and sit around and laugh at it. Because I mean, I still do. And sometimes he'll go to me, there's this joke we share that Bill Hicks used to do, and he'll go, "Hey Dad," and I go, "What, son?" He goes, "Do you think when Jesus comes back, he's going to want to see another fucking cross?"
Exactly. It's like, why is everyone wearing that of me? You know what I mean? Like,
he goes, "What do people like wear like little rifle pendants to remember JFK?" They go up to Jackie and go, "Hey Jackie, just thinking of John," you know.
It's like
pretty funny.
We choose a different symbol.
The other thing I want to talk about is a couple things. Shelley Duvall's death.
I know.
You know what I found out? I always liked Shelley Duvall. She had this series that she produced herself that won I want to say like a Peabody Award or something really cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so she was really smart. But did you know that in The Shining, which is when people think of Shelley Duvall, you think of, here's Johnny and she's out there screaming and all. She got a Razzie Award for that.
Really?
Yes. They gave her such
no way.
Yes. They said she overacted and everything in there. But then as time went on, that whole thing flipped around.
Yeah.
Who else got a Razzie? Guess who else got a Razzie for an iconic performance? And I didn't know this either.
Oh.
Shawshank Redemption, the lead, Tim Robbins.
Stop it.
Tim Robbins for not acting. He said he just walked through the whole movie when it came out.
I know. So I don't even like the Razzies. I think the Razzies are mean anyway.
Yeah. I mean,
unless it's J-Lo, because J-Lo always deserves a Razzie for most of the crowd.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you can't. Well, no, J-Lo was great in Out of Sight, the George Clooney movie.
No, I know. I actually don't. I don't know if I've ever seen that movie. She was good in Selena, which was really her breakout movie. And I don't know if I've liked her in anything real. Well,
I felt bad. Did you see
rom-com? She's okay.
She had to cancel her tour because nobody was coming out.
I mean, J-Lo was big when she was like Jenny from the Block. You know what I mean? Like, come on, let's calm it down, J-Lo. You're not bringing in the numbers. It's not your generation anymore. She was my generation.
When will the heat come off at Taylor Swift?
For what? Taylor Swift's huge.
No, that's what I'm saying. When will that go? I mean, how long can that last? And here's another question.
Been going on for a very long time.
Do you think if she came out and backed Biden, it would help?
She already has.
I mean, like
she's definitely anti-Trump. I mean, did you ever see her documentary, Miss Americana?
Oh yeah, the one where she's worried about Marsha Blackburn, right in Tennessee when she's down.
Well, yeah, I mean, so she's definitely. But I think it'd be smart for Taylor to just stay the hell out of politics. Just because you have a platform doesn't mean you have to use them. Everyone knows that Taylor Swift is not going to be for Donald Trump. You don't have to be political. Not everyone needs to be political. I would never advise anybody, especially in this political atmosphere, to jump into it. Just vote. That's all I ask.
Did you hear what Biden said when they asked him about a gaffe? He said, "Go listen to the other guy." Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you, Biden.
This is Trump from last weekend. Listen to this.
Did anyone ever see the lovely movie Silence of the Lambs? Did you see it? Did you ever hear of Hannibal Lecter? He was a lovely man. He would love to have you for dinner. He will take you. You had many people for dinner. Well, we have a lot of people coming in. They always say, "Oh, that's terrible," that Trump would say. He is rambling about Hannibal Lecter. No, I'm not rambling. We are allowing people from insane asylums and mental institutions into our country. But
he keeps saying this, and there's absolutely no proof of that.
Exactly.
Not
He
at all. He
just
just keeps making that shit up.
murderers, rapists, and say it's like shut
You looking at
up.
you looking at the people behind him? It was like a casting call for people with mental illness. I mean, they're all like looking around. They have no idea what's
They're
going on.
just nodding and smiling. That's what they want behind you. If as long remember back in the day there was that one dude that was like making the crazy faces at one of those Trump rallies and they moved him off. Remember when and they're like, you can't be back there. You're making fun of the president. And he's like, no, he's talking crazy and I'm making normal faces when someone's saying wackadoo things. So
did you ever see the guy that was behind home plate in a major league game? And he was back there going the whole time behind home plate. He was there for he was there for like 5 minutes before somebody came down and moved him. And they had, that's the only shot they could do. And the guy's back there going.
You know what? If you pay that much money for your ticket, you should be able to do whatever the hell you want. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to pay this much money and I'm going to make blow me freaking gestures.
This is the 10th year that you and I will be working together.
Is it? What 10 years?
We started in 2014.
You're really old.
You were 12 when we started this thing. I was going to be nice to you. I was going to say something nice, and then you had to be mean. You were right for the
No, it's old because now I have my readers.
Those aren't readers. Look at your head is so small, and those glasses are probably normal size.
These are my readers. I'm matching you. See, I have to keep it down so I don't get the glare from the computer. But yeah, these are my readers. So I don't literally the computer looks blurry to me. I have to take them off now. I'm old now, man. Sucks. Freaking
anyway,
sucks.
all right. So I think the story that by the way, the heat has been insane in California.
It's supposed to break. Thank God.
But see, where I live
Please
and I love it because in San Diego,
like
yesterday the high was 71.
Shut up.
San
Francisco's not bad. San Jose, we've been like 90s, 100. It sucks.
Yeah, city of San Francisco. And I'll tell people this is a true story. When I was working at KGO Radio, which is it was in two different places, but in the financial district when we finished up. And I was living in a town called Lafayette, which is only about 18 miles away, but it's on the other side of the mountain on Oakland, right? So I'd get in my car in the summer and it'd be 116, right? On my car, 116. I'd get into work, it'd be 53.
Yeah. I'd have to bring a sweater. So I'd leave in a tank top and then I'd have to bring sweaters with me to work. And I couldn't, you put away like the winter clothes, in the summertime, I had to keep both out because I had to go to work. I was like, no, I gotta keep both. So yeah, it always sucks.
So, I mean, when you, when you were working in San Francisco, you would just go straight to KCBS Park and then just go home, right? I mean, when was the last time you actually went around the city?
No, that's
been a
not
while for me.
That's not
I still have friends up there. Like, I was hoping to have time, but I'm not going to have time to go into the city and get something to eat. I just it's been so long since I've been on BART, which is their rapid transit up there. And, I mean, I've had good and bad experiences on BART, it depends because it's the place I used to take it through parts of Oakland. I mean, my producer, producer, Brian Pelletier and his wife were robbed right there right off of the 24 right in there.
Fruitvale Station area. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's got problems, but anyway, the heat in Death Valley is supposed to be 129 tomorrow.
Well, you heard about that motorcyclist that was riding through Death Valley. And I'm asking myself, why? Why would you do that? Why would you ride your motorcycle with all of that gear on through Death Valley?
Well, I went to a wedding exactly a month ago in Palm Springs, and it was 114. And that was, I mean, we went golf in the morning. It was only 82. It was 82 at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
and we had a car. It wasn't bad, but I can't imagine if. I just can't imagine living in that heat all that time. I mean,
no. It's too hot.
All right, so last thing I want to talk about is the Supreme Court and what can be done. There's a few things. By the way, so if you don't know the story, real quickly, Samuel Alito's wife is Martha Ann Alito, and she was the one that wanted to fly the flag upside down, and
she did.
Flag, the other flag, which has the pine tree, and what's it say underneath it?
Yeah,
something about heaven.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and it's a revolutionary flag, and I actually was watching John Adams on HBO, and that flag was in it.
Yeah, no, we the state capitol or somewhere I used to have a flag like that. Apparently, there's some history to it, but they had to take it down. Yeah.
Yeah, after January 6th. Anyway, so and then of course we know about Clarence Thomas and the money he's taken from. Well, you know how long you got.
All rich people because he's just for sale. Yeah.
So obviously, yeah, and then of course Ginny Thomas, his wife, who was down there on January the 6th, texting Mark Meadows for the president to essentially declare the election null and void. They shouldn't be in the Supreme Court. They should not be on the Supreme Court. And AOC has filed a request to start articles of impeachment for these two. It won't happen. It's just like impeaching a president. You would need 67 votes in the Senate and a majority in the House to carry it forward, and it's not going to happen. There are other things that you could do. And in the 2024 project, they talk about expanding the court, but they also talk about doing it. And this is a thing that really worries me, is that if Trump knows the Supreme Court will back anything he does, then he can do anything he wants.
Exactly.
If there are really 6 votes in that court, or 5 votes in that court, that will allow Trump to violate the Constitution underneath, some sort of martial law, we got to remember that Lincoln suspended habeas corpus during the Civil War, and he didn't need to. And what he did essentially was to put people in jail without a trial. That's what that was. There are worries. I don't want to play this whole thing, but I do want to play a little bit of this 2025 thing. So if you guys haven't seen this, along with Bad Faith, which I'm going to watch tonight.
Watch it. Watch it.
Yeah, but the 2024 is the Heritage Foundation has put this in. By the way, they're rebranding it to call Project 47, so it doesn't have the stigma. They're trying to hide from this. I hope this doesn't get me dinged as a copyright violation. I don't think Lincoln Project is after people for wanting to promote them, but watch just a little bit of this here.
Okay.
November 5th, 2024. Donald Trump defeats a divided and dispirited Democratic campaign. On January 20th, 2025, Donald Trump is sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. Unfortunately, he keeps his promises. Trump seizes control of a divided government, signing hundreds of executive orders implementing Project 2025. Trump replaces over 50,000 civil servants with hardline MAGA loyalists. The federal oath of office now requires declaring loyalty to the president, not the Constitution. Protected by the Supreme Court's grant of total immunity for official acts, Donald Trump orders the Department of Justice to arrest members of the January 6th Commission, current and former DOJ employees, and political opponents for treason, election interference, and conspiracy.
Okay, he goes on in there to talk about minorities and women, and here's the kicker: is that with this Supreme Court, although I do believe that Coney Barrett joins, Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson in I think she's a little closer to the reality of what this, despite her crazy Handmaid's Tale background.
All right.
I think that she understands this. And my gut is that Roberts and Kavanaugh might feel the same way. I think Gorsuch, I don't know where he's going to land with the other 3. I essentially, if Trump somehow becomes president, and it could happen even if Biden wins too, with the Supreme Court, Biden could win and say he goes to the Michigan and goes to Wisconsin, where they have Republican legislatures, and he talks them into getting new electors, to assign a new slate of electors. Would the Supreme Court allow that? We know now he apparently has the immunity to do that, and could not be, charged for, again, trying to usurp the will of the people. So my point is that it's not only is important for Biden to win, but we also have to figure out what AOC and others are trying to ascertain is just how compromised is this court. I don't know the answer.
Right. And my other worry is, of course, is if Trump does win, God forbid, the presidency, he could, even if Clarence Thomas, even if AOC was successful in getting Clarence Thomas to step down or get impeached or whatever, Trump could replace Clarence Thomas with somebody younger. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to expand the court. He could just replace somebody, a younger conservative judge. That person is just on the court even longer, right?
But so people know all you need to expand the court is Congress's approval, straight up approval.
Right.
It's like 51 votes in the Senate and 218 in the House. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
And another thing we could possibly do as well is we could rotate them. When you're appointed to the Supreme Court, you're appointed as a federal judge for life. Doesn't mean you necessarily get to stay in the Supreme Court for life. Doesn't say that in the Constitution. So you could shuffle through at 6-year increments or whatever, which makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, I've said this before. I think the people that are making the most important decisions for the world, we should have more people than we do on a pickup basketball game. It just makes sense. We have 535 people in our legislature, and we have 9 in the court, the top court.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, the immunity thing is we're going to hear more about that, obviously, in the days and weeks ahead. Before we go here, do you, if you had to make a prediction, what's the next couple of weeks look like? Is it going to get hotter on Biden, or will it cool off after that?
I really hope it cools off. I think that this week was kind of the test. A lot of people were saying, this past Tuesday, oh my God, this is going to make or break Biden. I think that he's done a lot this week to prove, like, I'm not going anywhere. I think there's going to be some more tough conversations. I think that if Biden makes it through next week, again, saying I'm not going anywhere, the conversation does need to end and we need to move on. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on the Democratic Party to stop if Biden continues to say that he's staying in the race, and to move the conversation back over to where it needs to be, which is to Donald Trump. If Donald Trump wants to replace Joe Biden, he needs to prove that he's capable and qualified, which he is not. And the media, and I'm talking CNN, MSNBC, all of them are failing the American public by not scrutinizing this man more closely for all of the things that he's done wrong.
Is it crazy? Really? Just this week, it was reported that an illegal alien, and you just look at this.
He can't even talk.
Thank you. So I don't know. I hope the conversation moves back to Trump where it should be, because he is a danger to this country. The danger.
Well, let's end on this note here.
And we will take back our country on November 5th, 2024. On November 5th, 2024. 2024.
That's so gross.
Is it wrong to say that if he died, I wouldn't give a shit?
I don't like to wish death on people because I think it's bad juju. I just want him to go away. Yeah. I just want him to go away in whatever way the Lord Almighty wants to happen. How about that?
The Lord Almighty. Okay. Hey, she has a show. Her name is Nikki Medoro. You can find it on YouTube. MED.
Yes. O-R-O.
Medoro. M-O-M-E-D-O-R-O.
Yes. Thank you. You've just known me for 10 years. You should know how to freaking spell it. Thank you.
It's an odd name. It's not an American name.
It's an Italian name.
Shush. All right. Love you, baby. You be good. You be well.
You be good.
Right. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks.
Bye.